You are now listening to the podcast for geeks and the stuff they love, where each week we'll talk about everything from anime to movies, games, and prop collecting with the people who create and love it. I'm Jeromy.
I'm Vinz.
I'm James.
And this is your Geek Fix.
I know we've talked about this topic before, but there's a lot that's kind of happened since. I think the last time, Vinz, you asked me if I had an R2 around outside I'm doing the fan home thing, but I think the only R2 I have is a cookie jar that's up here behind me. Before that, and then I've been doing the fan home half scale. But more recently, I'm actually kind of getting burnt out on R2 because I decided for my half scale, I wanted to get a C3PO that would stand next to him. So I needed a half scale C3PO, and there's a guy by the name that does videos, World of Wayne. And he does a lot of like model building and a lot of these kind of like part built things. And I saw he had one. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get that. And it's by Jack's Toys. And if I was in the UK, I could probably find that half scale pretty easily. But on eBay here, I guess they had another scale, same company. And so when I ordered it and it arrived, it is about 23 inches, I think, is the one that I got. And so it's too short for my R2, but I was so determined now that I wanted to do a project that I was going to buy another R2 that was down to that scale. So I needed a 12-inch R2. So then I went online and I looked up 12-inch R2. Hasbro makes supposedly a 12-inch R2. If you look it up, you'll find a whole bunch of them, and it says 12 inches. And when it arrived, the box is 12 inches, but the actual R2 is 6 inches. So now I had a 6-inch R2. So I went back on and I ordered a 12-inch from Disney. So I have the 12-inch for that. And then that other project, I don't think I have it laying near me, that we talked about last time. I'm doing a Book Nook thing that has scenes from Star Wars, and one of them is Leia's recording the message for Ben Kenobi. And so I have a 1.5-inch, I think he is, R2. So I've got the 1.5, a 6, a 12, and a half scale. And then I'm doing all of them. I'm doing lighting and things. Here's my fiber optics and stuff. I've got this is the fan home head, by the way. I just received it, so you might want to see it.
Nice.
It's not fancy like yours, Vince.
Probably not cheaper.
It looks pretty good though. It doesn't look half bad.
That's laser cut, isn't it?
It's and it looks milled just like the real one. I mean, if you look at it, they did it just right. But at the same time, Vince, I've been watching your I almost said Twitch again because we were talking about Twitch.
Not much on there.
Account.
Yeah.
But on your Twitter account, you have some pictures that you've been posting of your R2 build. It's not so much in the building phase yet, but you've been getting the parts cut. You've been getting things milled and made. You have some probably custom parts too. I remember what you told me about your dome. We talked about that in the last time that we talked about R2. But yeah. So I got a question for you. How much? You've got some access to tools and to parts and and you've also been able to get hooked up with some metal a little bit cheaper. But how much do you think that this project would technically cost you in the end?
It can cost a lot. It really depends on how far you want to go. So for me, currently, the dome was the most expensive thing because it has an inner dome and an outer dome, and it had to be custom made in a batch of 12, I believe. And
this is by people that make a lot of these, right?
Well, the thing is, the factories that have to make a custom mold, they have to make a custom program to cut out all the panels. They only do it in batches, and they only do it when you pay upfront. So this guy in Germany spent, I don't know how much money, but thousands of euros or dollars on getting those things made. And then there were only 12 left when I got there. But he said also he's probably not going to do them again because they're so expensive, and they're getting more expensive due to the global resource shortage. But that was the most expensive bit. So I think And I added some quality of life things to it, like a milled ring that would hold the dome on top of the frame, some gears, a motor. So all that was €600.
Wow.
So that's a lot, but yeah, there are ways to do it cheaper. I mean, you can 3D print a dome and everything, but it's not metal, and the time spent and on gluing it together, making it look perfect, buffing it, sanding it, primering, painting, it'll never look as good as just an aluminum dome. So that was the investment worth making. And I mean, if I didn't go further, then at least I had a very nice, expensive lampshade I could hang somewhere. But so that's positive thinking. But I lucked out. I mean, I was working on 3D printing in R2D2, and then my 3D printer died, kind of. And I was looking at files.
That would be a lot of PLA, or what were you going to be using? Special?
No, PLA Plus. Yeah,
filament?
So. It would take a long time, and thankfully I didn't buy it already. I just bought for the dome, the blue parts. But so I was looking around, and I remembered that a friend of mine had a CNC on which he makes guitars, like he cuts them out. And there were wood plans on astromech.net that would allow you to cut an R2D2 from wood, but still it's wood. So I find a folder that says aluminum prototype frame. And I'm like, I remember that I went into the factory a couple of years ago where I work, because we built a nice hat.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Keeps all the solar rays out.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, but I looked out
with a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, it's a milled aluminum hat. But that's for the 1%ers amongst the conspiracy theorists. Yeah. But I work for a company that makes conveyors for airports, for parcel postal, that kind of stuff, and they do a lot of stuff in house. So they have a big 3,000 watt laser cutter that they just push aluminum through like it's nobody's business. And previously I had a frame cut for a Prusa Mark III 3D printer, so that I would build one from scratch, and that was just a small frame, didn't take that much. And R2D2 of course is much bigger and much more intensive, so I basically asked them, I said, hey, is it at all possible, if I need to pay for it, if I need to come along with a cold beverage or whatever, is it any way possible to do it? They said yes, so I provided the files. A guy called Ian Hughes from Australia, he made those aluminum prototype files initially, but didn't really go further than that because his wooden frame was taking off and everybody liked that. And then I said, well, I can cut things really cheaply because I get a company discount. And the stuff, just to make it clear, I do pay for all the stuff because some colleagues think they see me walking around with a lot of metal just coming from a factory, and I am in no means associated with the factory because I have a desk job. But they see me walk around and like, what is this guy doing? I'm like, I paid for this stuff. It's all above board.
So is it aluminum that you're doing it out of then? It looked like it was other. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's 3mm aluminum. The actual frame is 6mm, but we can't cut it like that, so I had to sandwich it. I cannot weld aluminum, so I also had to find someone local who would do it for me.
Well, that'll be important too. With the, I know you said you have motors that could pretty much drive the thing wherever, but I mean at the same time that'll make it lighter in the end for you.
It's going to be pretty heavy with the metal. Wood or styrene would be a lot less. So, but it will also be a tank.
Styrene and R2.
Yeah, they work. They work and they look great. I mean, a lot of them look great. Yeah. And the thing is, though,
not the same.
but not all of them were aluminum in the first place. Most of them were.
That's true.
Fiberglass.
Fiberglass. Yeah.
Yeah.
The main body. Yeah.
Yeah, the main body. Yeah. So my frame is going to be full aluminum by the grace of the people at the factory who are wanting to help out. I also had files for a small keychain that was cut in. With all the rest of the files, so whenever someone else me out, I give them a keychain made from the plates that will make R2D2.
And keepsake.
as a keepsake, but I also really appreciate it. And one of the requirements is that once it's built, I drive him around the factory, of course, so that he can take pictures.
Cool.
Ian, the designer of these files, has been really great. I mean, he's been messaging me constantly with new files that I can try out, and the factory's happy to support. So it is a prototype, so some things have to be cut anew. But
is that a whistle or is that a screaming person?
I think that's a screaming child. I'm sorry.
It could be mine as well.
Like
I'm
gonna used to be a siren now at that point.
I'm going to close the window.
That's pretty good.
There's R2.
Still, I've been looking at the parts that you had cut so far. Are you going to be doing? I mean, are you filming at any of this, or are you just taking pictures in the meantime, or are you waiting until it's all stocked up and then putting it together? Like, how are you?
So, part one is clear the garage from all the boxes that are there, because my garage is my workshop and it's a really big space. I'm really proud of it, but we had a renovation of the attic, so a lot of stuff is in there to stay there. The renovation is still going on because we need new floors in there, so we're waiting a bit. But in the meantime, I can cut a lot of stuff, so all the cutting stuff is pretty boring. And sometimes one of our top welders actually suggested said, "Hey, if this is for R2D2, I'll weld this stuff for free for you because I need practice."
Wow.
So he welded the legs, which are the most complicated things to do. It saved me like $500 by doing so.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Yeah. So the metal is real cheap, and so for now it's going really fast. I think I now have There are going to be upgrades, but at least the central barrel of the frame of R2D2, like the structural part, I have a picture on my Twitter that is being dry fit, so it needs to be structurally welded and screwed together. But that's already cut. The legs are welded then. The shoulders are able to be mounted via screws, so like they call it shoulder or horseshoes basically. Those are cut. The shells that go over the feet are also cut, and also the drive that mounts the motor and the wheels. Those plates have also been cut, but need to be either screwed together or welded. So
that's a lot of it.
Yeah. So basically, all that remains is the skin and some 1mm thick detail work. So R2D2 has a barrel construction, which is a frame, and then like a clamshell, it has two skins that clamp together and meet in the middle, and that's 1mm aluminum, or at least 2 layers of 1mm. And we don't stock 1mm at our factory, and also the laser cutter doesn't have the parameters to cut it so far. So I have to do some social engineering to make that happen, to get one of our suppliers to deliver enough 1mm stock, and have one of our engineers recalibrate the machine for just 1 square meter or something. But I'm scavenging a lot of files that I could use to make other parts out of aluminum, like by flat pack design or have it being welded. So Ian Hughes, again, big fan of him, because he just says, "Okay, what do you want to have made?" And he just starts designing it. And
this is the Astromech forum, or which one are you on right now?
Yeah, I'm on astromech.net. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's one of my build logs is in there. So I keep pictures, I keep little posts. I can link it if you want. You need to be registered though if you want to read it all. But I can highly recommend it if you want to build something else like a BB-8 or a little mouse droid or whatever. It's a very welcoming community that shows a lot of that stuff. So it's been great fun so far. So next week I'm going to visit a convention in Belgium, in Brussels. And there will be people from the R2 Builders Club there. And then in October I'll also visit a convention in Ghent in Belgium. And then the guy who I bought the dome from and some of his friends will be there as well. So hopefully I'll be able to score some cheap parts, or at least get some insight in something, and it'll go real fast. Yeah.
There's 3 groups of people. You got the people that are the die-hard. It has to be, I only want to use the parts that they used. I want it to be classically, it's going to use the old way of doing everything in it with the old boards and the old, I don't know how they pull that off, but at the same time, versus the people that I want it to be generally the same materials, but I'm going to do like the modern day.
Yeah, stylistically accurate is what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got the people kind of like what you mentioned, where just whatever I can do just to get something that kind of looks like R2 inside of my house.
yeah, exactly. Because like one of the things is was that the legs, they have curved edges because the welder wanted to make it look real pretty, but R2D2 has like I say it straight edges.
They're real angled, yeah.
So my R2 has rounded corners, just like his creator has
it does?
rounded corners.
That's funny.
So
at least then you don't have to worry about some kid cutting themselves on it.
Yeah,
or something
exactly.
Like that,
but it aesthetically it will look different. I just have a very chubby R2 in the end, I guess.
Alternate universe R2.
That's right. There you go. That's what it is.
I mean, the thing is, though, if you see most R2s with the Builders Club, they're either very pristine, because, of course, it takes a lot of money and effort to make them like that. I already threw it out of the window because I naturally weather things by being impatient and being, clumsy. Yeah. So things will get battle damaged by building it, and I am fine with that. For me, as you said before, whatever I can get my hands on that is cheap and available, because I looked at some this week. I looked at the drivetrain for the R2, which is sometimes it's an electric scooter motor, sometimes it's like a wheelchair motor. If I were to buy just the wheels without the motor and the gears and everything, it would cost me like $400. And that's something that, for me now, if I could just get 3 wheels rolling and have them static, that would be fine now, and I can save up and spend later. For me, there's no rush.
No.
But if someone says, hey, I can cheaply cut a lot of aluminum for you, then I will not say no. And if someone says, I will weld it for free, I will not say no. I'll get what I can get, and if something has to be 3D printed or whatever, then that's fine. For me, it's a legacy project, so it's something.
It's something that never really ends. I mean, you can keep upgrading and replacing things as you want to. If you're somebody though that wanted to just get it out of the box, full scale, by the people that made the I wouldn't say the original, but technically that owned the rights to the original, and you want to go over to Disneyland,
Galaxy's
Edge,
Edge,
you want to get the full scale one, then for $25,000, you can have a working R2D2 complete, and you can walk right out of Disneyland with them. Actually, they won't let you. According to this, they won't let you. They have to bring it outside for you. They won't let you take them through the park
because it's a character, and you can't do that.
Yep. You're not supposed to dress up as characters, and you're not supposed to. Yeah.
Oh no,
so,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have this weird rule. So that there's people that get around it because there's some merch that you can buy at Disneyland that kind of looks like a costume for the most part, but they don't want you being confused with their what do they call them? They call them
Imagineers. No, the Imagineers.
No, the staff. They call them
minions.
It's an actor's name. It's like what you would call. You would call somebody that
I don't know.
Oh,
but
I don't know.
They do have a thing to get around it, which is called Disney bounding, which is wearing clothes that reflect the character. Like if you want to be Mickey Mouse, you wear like red shorts and black T-shirts and all that kind of stuff.
You just can't have a face that looks like Mickey Mouse.
Well, maybe a face, but not a mask or something. If you just say "ha ha" a lot, then yes.
Some poor kid that was born with a Mickey Mouse face condition,
with deformity.
Yeah. I do know. I mean, if you do at Disney World, if you do the Galactic cruise.
Yeah, you can
dress that up. One, you're allowed to be dressed up, and they bring you over. But I think that they're also with you the whole time, so they probably make sure that you.
Yeah, what they want to prevent is that some bad actor, literally, is going around messing up their IP, scaring the children, and all that.
Yeah.
And I can totally understand that. Also,
Yeah.
the thing with
Understand.
R2D2, because you're using the IP of Lucasfilm, you're not allowed to sell like complete R2s, but also something I read is that, for example, some people, R2 is heavy. You cannot
Right.
just grab him and put him in your car, so people are devising ways to put him into their car easily. And one of them looked like he was on a gurney, and it was like, yeah, don't let the kids see that, because,
Yeah.
R2 without his head even.
What's
is,
wrong with R2?
Yeah, he's getting locked up. But
It's all good.
yeah. So I can
That's
understand.
funny.
And also, a while back on a previous podcast, we talked about me proposing in Disney World.
Yeah.
And I wanted to dress up like the Beast and then just take the mask off and, hey, it's me. Which didn't work out, for the same reason. But you can do a lot if you're creative, like, get a glass slipper made and all that.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still reaping the benefits from that. I mean, there's a reason I can build an R2 and get away with it.
Idiosyncrasy points.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and want more, stay tuned for that, but also check out our channel, join the community on YouTube that goes by the same name, your Geek Fix. Be sure to check out Vinz on Twitter at MassiveDMG_ and on his YouTube channel, MassiveDMG. Check out James at Mr. Malto4 on Instagram and the Replica Prop Forum. We also want to hear from you, so be sure to send your questions, stories, and other projects to yourgeekfix@gmail.com. In the meantime, this has been your Geek Fix.